Doing well. Thank you, Amish. No, never. Never. It's always a good start, right? Starting the day with my little girl and going to the job afterward. Absolutely. I'm Alexis Laving McPhee. Uh, Dad's English, mom's French, so I got two names. Listen, I started the business while I was at the university. I was getting tired at some point, so left for a few months into Asia, came back, was wondering what I could do, and stumbled upon kombucha back in the days. I was like, wow, that's liquid gold. Seems like a great opportunity, and I was looking to bring kombucha to the next level, and that's where I found out about food waste. I read an article on CBC that was saying 56%, if I remember well, of food that was produced for humans in Canada that was wasted. So from that, yeah, I know, right? It's humongous. It was like that's a national problem. So building a company that would solve a bit of that problem would enable us to create a national business. So one plus one equals flirt kombucha back in days. But the pandemic hit, and during that time, I was finishing university, started full time in the business, and we needed to pivot because kombucha was quite saturated. That was one of the first mistake or learning I did. Knowing your market, getting prepared for, right? So I got to know the market. Kombucha was saturated. We pivoted into new drinks, tried a few things, and that's where we got into the sparkling beverages industry and where we are right now, um, creating or recreating the sparkling beverage industry through real ingredients for people that care about what they drink, what they put in their body, and that's where we're at right now. Hmm. I always knew I'm coming from a business family. So my parents had a few businesses. I've always been evolving in this industry, and I was literally walking through the street with like taking notes about what idea, what businesses I could do. So when I started it, I was like, okay. Funny thing, I was with the dean of Telfer last week. With Telfer is the business side of the University of Ottawa, and I literally told him I hated school. I literally told him that to the dean of the university. I did not like school at the beginning because I could not get my hands on what I was doing. So at one point, I was like, I need to try it out. I need to understand. But at the same time, for 7 years, I took two classes every single session because I really wanted to finish my bachelor, my degree. And the day I started the company, I started loving school, and that was the second part of the story I told the dean. I started loving school, and my grades went up like crazy. I was doing very well at the university because I was able to literally put the theory, the knowledge I was learning at school, into practice and building it through my company. So yeah, so why I did start it because I needed to to do it. That's the way I learned. That's the way I like to do stuff. Money, for sure. Money. It's one big part of it. Buying a lot of stuff, building manufacture of beverages costs. There's not the biggest barrier to entry, but it still costs a lot when you're doing this on your own. Um, but I'd say the biggest obstacle, and took us a few years. I'd say at least 2 years. Um, it's getting to understand a market. So business is all about understanding your market, where you can fit, who's your client, what's the problem, and we just launched the company not knowing a lot of this. We're like, oh, there's a big trend about this beverage, so we should start a company and try it out. It did not work. Did not work. But with experience, it was literally like going to school, but paying for it at the well, I'm still paying for school, but paying a lot for it through the business. It was great. It was great knowledge. Um, there's a few ways. There's a few ways. We did not do the easiest way, to be honest. Um, so what we did is pretty much create recipes, and we're like, okay, we've created recipes. Now we're gonna bottle it ourselves. So you need to get permits. You need to get a space. You need to do it yourself at the end of the day, because all the time you should be spending on selling the beverage. Because right, a business is all about selling. At the end of the day, making money, getting money in the business. We were producing the beverages. Um, so we pretty much started from the bottom, created a manufacturer, and started doing the beverages through our own hands. At the beginning, it was extremely hard because every single month you got these fixed costs coming in, and you need to pay them. If you don't pay them, well, everything's going down. Um, but nowadays that we have our own manufacturer, we've got all the liberty in the world to be creating so many kind of beverages and pivoting the business into many new different kind of ways, and that's amazing. So it was extremely hard at the beginning, but now it's great to have our own manufacturer. But the easiest way, or maybe not the easiest way, but the other way of doing this is through co-packing. So you get a food scientist. You're like, this is my idea of a product. Can you create it for me? You pay for that. Afterward, you go to a co-packer, someone else than you that would do the beverage for you, but the minimum order quantities are quite extensive. So, but that's the way you do it. So you go to that person, you buy a bulk of your beverage, you store it into a facility, and you start selling it through the retail industry. But the selling is like a whole other story that would take a lot of time to go through. So we started the company in 2018, 19. So it was what, 22, 23. Uh, no, I look older in some ways. I mean, you need to be confident. You need to have a passion, and you just knock on the doors. So many cold calls I did. I was like, hey, that's me. That's what I want to do. And I feel like there's a great card to be played. I'm a young entrepreneur. Just that. I'm a young entrepreneur. I want to build. I'm passionate, and that inspires a lot of people, even older people that see themselves into you. So I've played that card a lot. Well, for the first 2 years, it was quite. I mean, we were looking left, looking right, and not really understanding what we were doing. In 2020, on the 30th of March, we were officially launching the business, new branding, new marketing firm. Everything was like, let's go. We're speaking with all the big guys. Um, and the pandemic hit. So everything went down from that. We've pivoted like two times during the pandemic. And in 2021, that's where everything like went up. In 2021, we had the product we needed that people loved, and from that, we got to where we're at today. Well, I feel like any business that will be able to make it work are pivoting businesses, right? I always give the example of Amazon. Amazon's selling everything you can think of, but at the end of the day, they were selling books at the beginning, right? It just doesn't make sense. That they pivoted into something else. The biggest money making from Amazon is through AWS, their servers. So it's like a pivot that they did. So every single big business nowadays, I've pivoted so many times, um, and getting to know your surroundings and understanding it. I'd feel like at the point we were, we looked at the market, we understood the market a bit more than we used to do. So we looked at the market and we knew we were good at doing circular economy. So recovering fruits and making them, upcycling them into beverages. But what was the best vehicle to do this? For us, we looked at the market and we found out that there's a few sparkling lemonades on the market, and that everybody understand and love lemonades, right? Um, so we started doing this, and we were right. People wanted a real made sparkling lemonade that's just plain good. I feel like business was too boring and wanted even more challenges. I don't know. It's like it's quite complicated to do this, but I feel like for us, I'm talking through my voice and my co-founders' voice as well. We wanted to create a business that had an impact, something that was different, not just a plain old business. For us, it's more like an evidence. It's an evidence to use upcycled fruits and make them into beverages. Why would we use perfectly fine fruits when it's being turned into a beverage at the end of the day? You don't need to look at it. Is it still good? Is it still juicy? Actually, the fruits that we use are always like the most ripe fruits. It's got the most sugar, the most taste. It's flavorful. So for us, it was pretty much like an evidence, and I feel like nowadays with the new generations of entrepreneurs, there's so many. At the beginning, when we're doing this, people were like, "Oh, you use fruits that are for compost, and you're putting that into drinks." That just doesn't make sense. But there's so many other companies coming out on the market that I feel like there's a democratization of the market, and people understand that. Why not do this? Wow, that's a quite hard one to do in 30 seconds. But circular economy is pretty much about putting yourself in a hole on the market where there's waste in some way. So ourselves, we went through the fruits industry, but there's many other ways of doing circular economy. So it's pretty much instead of doing linear economy where you take something from the ground, transform it, sell it, and it goes to the waste. You put yourself into that linear economy and reuse it, and you transform it and sell it, and that way it's the best way to explain it. Why is it important? Man, it's like there's these old industries that are doing billions and have always been there. So how can you place yourself into these industry as a young entrepreneur? You can't reinvent the way it's been done, but you can position yourselves where there's a hole, and you can find um, a good, I don't know what's the word, but matière première, uh, a good a good raw material that you can transform into something else. Oh, it's just added value at the end of the day. It's added value through the taste. For us in our particular industry, it just tastes better, right? Because when you don't use real ingredients, we are able to use real ingredients into our beverages, and when someone tastes our beverage, they just say, "Wow!" Every single time. I've not found one person that did not like it. So using real ingredients is such an added value, and we talk to the new generations through that way. Our generation, at the end of the day, right? It's a way of voting, saying, "Hey, I want something to change. I want something better for the environment." I could take a Coke or I could take a flirt. Well, a flirt is pretty much like voting and saying, "Hey, I believe in that," and it tastes better. So many. I mean, I saw a guy that was doing how do you call you know what goes to your waist? Not a waistband, but a belt. Um, he was doing both with tires from bicycles, from literally from bicycles. He was doing that. So instead of wasting the tires, he was doing belts through it. And instead of like leather that would break after I don't know 1, 2, 3 years, uh, the plastic from the bicycle, the rubber, would last forever. I saw some people that would transform food waste that would go into landfills into energy, bioethanol. There's like chemicals way of doing this. There's simple ways of doing this. It's like circular economy is a new way of building something. There's a scientist in Australia that she's transforming glass and textile. Textile is the thing that you can't transform. It's like the biggest waste in the world into towels. So she's pretty much like building uh, towers or showers or kitchen with towels that reuse um, glass that was shattered and textile. It's crazy. I feel like circular economy is not new, right? We just use the word more nowadays. I feel like there are so many other companies that were doing circular economy that we just don't understand. Like, I mean, you can, you know, the wool in the walls. It's made with glass. It was shattered, right? And then it's just a way of transforming it. So I think it's already done. It's just pushing this to a whole new level because we've been doing it to recover money at the end of the day instead of wasting it. Why not make money out of it? Um, but it's already in the industry, so people have made businesses that are humongous through circular economy. Now it's just opportunities for new entrepreneurs. It's just opportunities at the end of the day. You look at the market, you see it. There's the waste. You can reuse it and transform it. And sometimes people will pay will pay you to get these waste out of their yards, right? Because they're already paying to get them out of there. So why not pay you to get rid of this and transform it into something that's added value and sell it? So it's just opportunities, and I know for full scale, it's already done. So just understand your market, understand the problem, understand the consumers, and what's in the middle. You'll be able to create it. It's not gold. It's one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? Yes, for sure, for sure. It's actually one saying that my partner and I always say to each other. Yeah, why not? Um, for me, that's less of there's many ways of saying that. There's like the beautiful ways, but for me as Alexis, um, it's my school. It's my school because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to build something out of my hands and create and be passionate about it. And I started Third as my first company, my first big company. It was my school. I learned so much through the first 2 years of the business. Now I'm still learning, and every single day I will be learning and for the rest of my life. Even though if I'm not still in flirt in, I don't know, a few years, I'm still gonna learn through entrepreneurship. So flirt for me was my school, is my school, and it's gonna be my school to get to a point where I feel like I'm getting to the next level of entrepreneurship. There's many levels. You can count them as money, as knowledge. Personally, I think it's knowledge. Knowledge equals money at the end of the day. So understanding how it can build, how it can replicate a model that I understand into other businesses. So you understand what I mean, right? So I'm learning with and reuse all the knowledge I've learned with Flirt into another business and just replicate that model and replicate it and replicate it and just adding it to this model every single time so I can just build and create and have the most impact I can have. Um, I feel like so that's quite hard to say. There's a few good and bad answers. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like one bad sometime people can see it as a bad answer, but selling the company, I feel that's an exit for the company would be a North Star. So it's making building that company to a level that we have such an impact on the market that the bigger companies would be interested in buying our company. Um, but for Flirt, I feel like being all around Canada and the United States, it's our closest North Star. I'd say right now, that's my feeling. Beverage is quite large, right? Because a beverage brand at the end of the day can be water, so it's quite hard to say. I'd say if we specialize in the sparkling beverage industry, or the one that is not in the grab and go, and we're the one that's not in the Coke alley. It just doesn't fit with what we do. We currently position ourselves into the produce section, the fruits and vegetables. And I know it can sounds weird sometimes, sparkling beverages and the fruits and vegetables, but for us it just makes all the sense in the world because people that are in the fruits and vegetables, the fresh people care about what they eat, what they drink, and we just give them the opportunity to have a little sparkling beverage into their lives, and because they won't buy Coke, they won't buy Pepsis, they won't go in that alley. So we just offer them that opportunity to finally find something that's more tailor made to what they like, what they would drink. Actually. And that's what I'm talking about. School. That's part of the school. I think I'm still learning. That's one part. So we got to a point where people like our product, people buy the product. We're getting distributed across a lot of stores. I think we're at 700 stores right now, and every single year we're growing quite fast. Now, the marketing side of the business, this is what I'm learning as we speak, and that's what I love. Right? What I'm saying, I'm always learning. Um, I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to understand and get a hold of what we should be doing. Actually, there's so many moments, but there's two that comes in mind right now. Um, how the agri-food industry works, man, that took me a lot of money and time to understand it. I've made mistakes to think, hey, I'm gonna create that product. I'm just gonna be able to sell it everywhere. But But in Canada, just in Canada, there's the five big guys. There's Walmart, Costco, Loblaws, Sobeys, and Metro. And usually there's like one person in every single one of them that would say yes or no. So you only got five chances to get your products into these five big guys, right? So understanding the relationship and how you should go. At the beginning, I was literally cold emailing these person, and they were like, "Who the heck is that guy?" It did not work, but through relationship building and we call them brokers and um, man, trial and error, we were able to get in front of these people and say what we wanted, and they believed in our story, and we're still trying to have more people believe in our story. That so one mistake was not not understanding how the industry works, which is a big mistake. The other one was using our cash flow to finance equipments. Last year, we were getting so many orders that we're like, oh shit, we need to produce more than we can. So we bought, I don't know, what, $70,000 of equipments. And no, that was more, that was the other one. So maybe $40,000 of equipments. And we're still a young company. So we used our cash flow and bought it. Uh, but what do you do when you need to buy bottles afterward and buy stickers and buy other stuff? And we're like, we don't have a choice. Business is like gambling sometimes. You calculate the risk. You try to understand if it's gonna be a good risk or not. We calculated it, but I think from that, my mistake was planning. We should have planned before, being able to talk to banks, talk to the right people, to have the money being loaned instead of using the cash flow because we needed it right now. But now we're very fine, and I mean every single day. My bankers would not like to hear that, but I think they'd like it as well. It's like we take risks every single day. We take risks and we calculate the risk, and we're like, okay, does it make sense or it doesn't? Um, and I think we're good calculators. I'd say debts and employees. Um, Once you get debts, you need to pay it every single month. And at the beginning of business, usually your name is on the contract because if you don't put your name on the contract, why would the bank believe that you would make it? If you don't believe in yourself, do it, right? So when we got debts, got to a point where if we close that business, we still need to pay these debts and employees. We got people living their life through our business. So we need to make sure that these employees are able to live their life to their fullest, and that's a big part of responsibility that's on our shoulders. Oh man, and the sparkling 0.001, it's such a big market. Even that, I don't know. Um, I won the data though; it costs a lot of money. And the produce section in the place that were distributed were very small still. I had some datas. Um, but I feel it's like it's part of growing, right? We got our foot in the door. We're being distributed in a lot of places now. People are getting to recognize the drinks, the traction, but there's some big players out there, and it's a bit like David against Goliath. Uh, we want to make our place, and a few steps at a time. Maybe not in real time, but we work with an amazing partner that I love so much. It's called Lufa Farms. So these guys got greenhouses on roofs in Montreal, and they got that like supermarket online that they sell throughout the province. And we get feedback, like direct feedback, every single time that people post a comment or post a grading. Like, is it 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, until go up to 5 stars? And we've worked with these guys for 2 years now, and we've created so many kind of products. We use it as a market test, um, and it's beautiful. I'm seeing some comments that it just feels good. Sometimes it's bad comments, like I saw some stuff. It tastes like shit. I don't want it. 1 star. Uh, but other comments are great, amazing. It's like good feedback, and we see people that are like, "Hey, I love these drinks. It's different. It's unique. I use it for my kids. I use it in cocktails. It just have a real impact on the life of people, and they rebuy it every single week because we see the data every day. So that's great. That's great. Sure. So actually, our main distributed line of products are sparkling lemonades. So it's like real freshly squeezed lemon, cane sugar, a bit of cane sugar, organic cane sugar, and it comes in many different kind of flavors. We got four as we speak right now. We got an orange and thyme, which is lovely. People that like Orangina, uh, every single person that I've tasted it are like, wow, that's amazing. I've put the time in it, and I feel like that was a mistake because people are getting scared of time. Um, but the people that are hooked to it are hooked for life. We got the basil sparkling lemonade. Basil and lemon is just a perfect combination in the culinary world. That's the one that it's our baby. It's the one that has put us on the market. It's an amazing seller, though in the retail industry, I feel like the mojito is the better seller. It's hot outside. It's beautiful. It's a lime mint sparkling lemonade. People love it. I actually drank a mojito this weekend. It's been a while. I drank a mojito and I tasted it and was like, "Oh shit, that tastes. It's my lemonade." Um, and we have a raspberry lemonade that's coming onto the market as we are speaking. Um, this is just crazy. People love raspberries. It got to a point where we're selling more of that than all the other ones. Um, it's the most expensive one, though. It costs a lot to use real raspberries into these drinks, but I feel like in business, there's it's not a loss leader, right? We're not losing money. We're still doing margins on it. Um, but I feel like people, it's mostly mass market with raspberries, sparkling lemonade. So people buy it and they will try the other ones afterward. So we saw it as a good point of entry with our consumers. But on Lufa Farms, we got I don't know what 15 other products. We've tried non-alcoholic cocktails. We are currently trying refreshers. Starbucks refreshers. I don't know if you have them in Europe, but it's a big hit in Canada as we speak. Um, and we've created beverages. So instead of using a lot of lemons, we use a lot of fruits. So we got a green apple refresher made with organic apple juice. Um, what else? We've done cream sodas. We've done so many other kind of products. We're testing the market, seeing how it works. But you need to focus when you start a business. You need to focus. So we're focusing a lot on these sparkling lemonades right now. For sure. So, depending on the time of the year and the production, we whether juice it ourselves. So we've got a partner that would juice it. So we buy number two lemons from the agri-food industry and transform them into juice. We also work with a great partner which is called Loop Mission. They also do circular economy. They're quite bigger than us, but we're following the same movement, so they're able to juice a lot of the lemons, the number two lemons for us. Um, and we use fresh herbs or number two raspberry for the lemonade. So everything comes into the manufacturer. Everything goes through a process of pasteurization, goes into the tanks, are mixed together, filtered out. We put CO2 into them, and then it goes through our bottling line, which will bottle, cap, label, being put into the boxes, and then it goes to the shipping trucks and into the stores. I feel like it's extremely important. I'm gonna talk about North America on this because I feel like the markets are quite similar sometimes. The United States market is mostly focused on better for you drinks, as for Canada, but not as much. There's some big changement as we are speaking, but but at the end of the day, I feel like people love what is I don't know what how to word it, but the best example I can give, we tried for a few years to do no sugar drinks, and the day we've put sugar into our drinks, we tenfold the sales in a month. So as co-founder, we don't like sugar. Uh, both people were buying our drinks when we put sugar into them, so we always tried to bring it to the perfect balance. um, we did not want to use plastic at the beginning, but we were able to do some researches and try to understand which container was the best fitted container for us, especially with CO2 emissions and the environmental impact. And at the end of the day, funny thing, for us, we thought it was glass, but plastic was the best option for us. It's manufactured in Canada, not in Germany for glass bottles. Um, so there's many changements, but I feel like not everyone is ready for big changes. So it's like a one step at a time process where we see many small changements that will come in maybe 8 years, 10 years. We'll see a whole other industry. Does it make sense? So we did a partnership with Yuzu Sushi a year back now, in April of 2022. That's amazing. That's amazing. To be totally honest, I love the people at Yuzu Sushi. They're just incredible. They wanted to have better impact on the environment, so they were changing all their packagings. And I came up with the idea and approached them and said, "Hey, let's do circular economy together. I'm gonna tailor made a drink for you that you'll be able to sell in all of your Yuzu Sushi stores. I think there's like 110 stores or something. Um, that's made for them. So instead of having only focusing on sushis and making the best sushi and having people get into their stores for only their sushis, which they're amazing at doing. Um, Instead of only selling Coke and Pepsi, they were able to sell something that's made for them, for the consumers. So we're just adding up to the experience of getting into yuzu sushi through their beverages as well. So we created a yuzu sparkling lemonade. We created a yuzu raspberry sparkling lemonade and iced tea yuzu that's sparkling as well. It went so well. The sales went like crazy. So we know we have something good going there, and that's one of our next big goal. It's getting into the franchisee world actually. Instead of selling Pepsis and Coke and all the regular stuff that you can buy at the store, we're gonna create beverages for the franchisee world and just That's our big project right now. We're gonna remap the beverage scene into the franchisee world. Start with Canada, but we're going for the United States as soon as we can. For sure, in 2 years. In 2 years, we need to get a foot into it. As we finish 2023 and going into 2024, we're finishing the planning to get a hold of Canada. 2024 is going to be planning for the States and maybe get a foot into the States. I'm not sure. Everything's about timing, right? So maybe timing will be right. But 2025 is for sure the year for the States. Absolutely. So it's a whole new world. The process to manufacture it, no. But all the rest is different. I'm ready. I don't even know them. I know who they are, but I don't even know them. I think Kylie Jenner is the one that does makeup, right? Um, Man, she's a great businesswoman. So Kylie Jenner. uh, Blackberries and rosemary. I've not lived that moment yet. Well, I don't know, man. When I got into a big supermarket, it was like, oh shit, I've done something. But I feel like every time you live that moment, you just lose it right away after, and you're like, what's the next big thing? Doesn't make any sense. People remember it. Wow, man. Every time I work outside these days, it's like 30 degrees out, and I'm like, oh, I'm thirsty. I need my flirt. It's an industry that's growing actually. The sparkling waters. It's crazy how it went for the past few years. Um, and to be totally honest, I wanted to do sparkling. At the beginning, kombucha was sparkling, but I wanted to do something sparkling. It's more fun. I never liked sparkling when I was young, but one was like, it's more fun. It's more, it's different.